Hello and welcome back to the Open Sorcery. It's Devi, and today we are going to be covering salt. So I'm sure everyone has heard, like, make a circle of salt. It's for protection, things like that. We've seen it in Hollywood movies. We've seen it all over media, everything like that. Yes and no. Okay, so salt has a very basic use in magic. It's been used in magic since the dawn of time. It's necessity, right? With salt, there is a lot of different kinds. And I'm sure you've got like the pink salt, the pink Himalayan salt, and anyone who has looked into witchcraft or magic has seen black salt. What I want to start with, let's go ahead and start with your basic table salt. That's going to kind of be your lesser of everything. All right. So salt overall, cleansing, purifying, making sure that things are pure, right? It's trying to draw stuff out. With sea salt, you're also incorporating literally the elements of the sea in that. So if you are more apt to be working with water, you are somebody that kind of vibes better with water, how about you use some sea salt? Sea salt is good for you. Pink Himalayan salt. Now, I've seen people sit there and say like, oh, it's like edible rose quartz. Kinda. Yeah, but that's more of a meaning that you're putting on it versus the properties that it has. So pink Himalayan salt, to me, that has always been more earth energy. That is more like, hey, from the ground, literally in the goddamn mountains, like, it's more earth energy. So much the same as sea salt. If you're more apt to be working with earth energy, try pink Himalayan salt. See if that vibes better with you and kind of works better with your energy. Black salt. This is where we get a little wonky because black salt is not ever meant to be ingested. It's just not. And there are commercial types that are literally made with taking like pure table salt, like not even sea salt, it's just table salt, and then mixing it with activated charcoal. That is not black salt. Whenever you are looking at a witchcraft store, you are looking at where it's literally like pitch black, that's not really what black salt is supposed to look like. In the craft itself, black salt is supposed to be used for banishing. This is supposed to be used for like exorcism, like I am getting this shit away from me, out, away, be gone. I do not want to deal with you anymore, right? With black salt, take your salt that you use. Shoot, you could use sea salt, pink Himalayan salt. Doesn't matter, right? Take that and then mix in your already burned incense, like your incense ashes or herb ashes that you have burned specifically for this, right? You take that into the salt and you mix it in and you're putting your intention in there. So black salt is not meant to be just like actually pitch black. It's going to be more of a gray color because it's incorporating ashes. And that one actually makes me really mad because they've commercialized black salt in a way that's detrimental, in my opinion. There is also another form of black salt, but this one is specific to Hawaii. And this one is coming off of the volcanoes in Hawaii. And now I wouldn't say, just like, I don't recommend anybody to use white sage. If you are not native, if you are not, somebody of the islands, don't use their sacred stuff for your craft. How about you don't use their things. And in that also is red salt, because there is a specific red salt that comes from Hawaii as well. And it's got a specific kind of clay in it, but that one's used for more sacred rites of like cleansing their ships and cleansing their religious tools or they're ritual tools. So that is one that I'm just like, hey, if you are of the island, that is like your home, your spirits, sure. If it calls to you, use it. But if you're not, how about we don't? But those are very powerful. And yes, though that is the only black salt that is actually natural. But majority of the black salt on the market, guess where it's coming from? California. So that's not really black salt. That's not what that actually is. And then there is something called gray salt. So gray salt is also going to be in clay. And gray salt, again, pulling from earth energy, but think about what clay does. So purifying earth with the salt, right? Salt is purifying. Clay is building and putting together. So it's kind of falling in that in-between area of, all right, we are going for a specific purpose. Make sure when you are using gray salt, you are being very specific with what you're going after, because this is kind of go between. Because like salt in earth is going to make it to where plants can't grow. Too much salt, plants can't grow. Too much clay, plants can't grow. So you're looking at some destructive capabilities, but a lot of creation capabilities as well. So you're walking a fine line with that one. And I would recommend, if you're using that in your works and your magic, just be as specific as possible. Because that's going to help you out with kind of tiptoeing that line. Now there's a couple of salts that I have listed in here that aren't necessarily like quote salt unquote. Like first is Epsom salts. Now we've all seen like the bags at the grocery store for like soaking in the tub, and we know that it has like really good benefits for the body. Use those in ritual baths. It's not necessarily salt by structure. It's not actual like, oh, I can cook with this salt, because you do not ingest it. Please, for the love of God, do not ingest it. But it is a purifying thing. It is able to draw those things out of your body. And I would say baking soda falls under that as well. And I would say use it in ritual baths. Baking soda is fantastic for you in terms of that. But you can use baking soda in cooking, obviously. But in the salts, that one is very much that drawing out and removing. It's getting rid of all that nasty gunk and actually allowing your body to heal. So I always add those in, because I do believe those are critical ingredients in enhancing any ritual baths or anything like that. But salts is very much one of those ingredients that if you want to make that circle of salt, right? Salt for protection, because if you are creating this space wherein in the middle of it you are in your own space and nothing can cross in, yeah, sure, salt can help you do that. If you are using it as, say, a drawing totem in your home, like if you have one of those pink Himalayan salt lamps, right? Those make sure that negativity is drawn in away from everything else. And you can use even just sea salt in a jar and enchant it in that way, or cast it in that way where it is acting as that drawing for negative energy to keep it away from the actual environment in the house. Almost like an odor absorber in the refrigerator. But it is incredibly useful. Use it in your practices. Like I had spoken before, pink Himalayan salt, you can use that in your glamour magic. Because a lot of people have added that, hey, it's pink, so it must be love kind of thing, right? Add that in there. Sure, cool, have at it. But as I have started saying, and I will say again, don't do magic for stupid shit. Do not use magic for stupid shit. This has been Devi on the Open Resorcery and covering salt today. And I will see you guys next time. Have a great night.